going up. It's going up. So we're ready. Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Bull Logistics. I am Mike Vincent, and he is Tim Guin. Tim, do you realize that everybody on the planet thinks you mispronounce your last name until they meet you?
Everyone does. A lot. I hear Guin. I hear Guin. I answer to Guin a lot.
Yeah.
But nobody ever gets
You're going to
Guin.
have to, because that's like 99% of the people.
That's right. That's right. No one ever gets Guin right. But
yeah. Nobody's the first time nobody's going to say Guin the first time.
That's
not.
right. Right. That's exactly right. You know what, Mike? I've learned to roll with it. I've learned to have fun with it. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. My last name is Vincent, and I must say it too quickly or something because I get Benson. It's Vincent with a S-O-N and all kinds of stuff. And it's really just super easy. It's just Vincent.
It is.
Now, Guin would have two N's, right? Guin would have two N's. Is that correct?
Yeah, it would have two N's, correct. And sometimes
and
it's
one N,
Gwin.
It would have two N's.
So it's lots of different variations of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there are. Well, anyway, Tim, we've known each other for quite some time, brother, and I really appreciate and respect all your work in the industry. How are you doing, man? You doing well?
I'm doing very well. I mean, I've been in this industry all my life. My dad had a couple of trucks when I was a young guy, and he
Did he have one or two trucks?
He had two trucks, flatbeds, and so I grew up in the business. I didn't think I'd be in the business. I went off to college and came home and wanted to live here in South Carolina, and I've been here. I've been very fortunate, 37 years in one place, which is remarkable to be in this industry and never have to move. I made a commitment a long time ago to do that. But I'm in my 37th year, so been going strong since 1988 in this business, and my goodness, I've seen so much change here lately. I tell a lot of people that I've been in it for 37 years, and I've seen more change in the last 7 than I did in the first 30 combined.
I will. Not that you need my my stamp of approval on what you said, but I started in 1988 as well. Nice. And so we started. We were born in the same year, so to speak, and. Yeah, I agree with you. I have seen more change in the last few recent years than anything else. And it really, for me, started in like 2015, 2016 when we fired up what was then Transrisk and became Freightwaves, right?
Yes.
That was for me what really opened my eyes to changes. And I think across the board, that's where really that catalyst of energy hit, right? And everything started going from there.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, I started out working for Swift, and back in the Jerry Moyes days, and I remember 1988 we did like 75 million in revenue, which was crazy. And then
that's crazy huge.
It is
1988.
1988, and we were it was wild, And Jerry Moyes was one of the best salespeople I've ever been around. I mean, customers loved him, and he loved customers, and was really, really.
So have you've been in flatbed and truckload your whole life?
Yes, sir. No LTL.
Okay. See, I've been all over the place. I've been LTL. I've been air freight. I've been warehousing. I've been maritime. I've been final mile. I've been all over it. The only thing I haven't done is railroad, but I booked railroad.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a little intermodal.
With the customer's knowledge and without.
Yeah, I did a little intermodal, did a little automotive, did automotive auto haul for a while. But that was inside the Swift company. It became very large and diversified our portfolio. But I've never really done much LTL at all.
Right.
I actually almost went to work for Roadway right out of college, went through that process and interview and talked.
I did.
I did too.
I actually started. I did.
Oh, you did?
First 12
you did?
Yeah, my first 12 years in the business were Roadway. Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I had a friend of mine I grew up with, and he was working for him, and he came home one day when I was actually trying to decide where I was going to work, and he goes, "Hey, you might not want to do that. They'll as soon as training's over, they'll send you off to some crazy city somewhere with no notice." and you'll have to pack up and leave.
Well,
And
and that doesn't stop. It is, hey, we're promoting you to terminal manager or cluster manager, and you start and do it on a Friday, and you start on Monday, and it's 1,000 miles away from where you live now, and there's no negotiation. You either follow your career at Roadway or you quit. That's
yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
exactly how it was done.
I'm grateful for my days at Swift. We were so big and we grew, and I got to stay here, and I spent 25 years there, and I'm very grateful for that time. I learned a lot. I learned so much
So
about.
now I met you. You were US. You were Yeah, you were USA Truck when I met you, and now you're or just ending Swift, I think. And you're
Yeah,
leaving Swift and going into USA Truck. But now you're. I mean, you've got a whole new name on the back end on your shirt, your Hirschbach, and that's fantastic, dude. How's it going over there?
it's going great. Brad Pinchuk is obviously our owner, and I met him years ago. We were on a transportation profitability strategy conference board at University of Georgia. I was coming off the board and he was coming on, so we didn't really get to know each other. But I knew who he was, and at the time he was working at Hirschbach. He wasn't the owner, and he was in sweat equity, I believe, mode. And then
Yeah.
we had this USA Truck sell to DB Shanker, which was a total shock to a lot of us. We didn't know we were for sale, but that's a long story. But uh, I was trying to decide what was next. I had an opportunity to work for DB Shanker, and they wanted me to stay there as chief commercial officer, but I wasn't sure that's what I wanted to do. And then right after that sale, which was mind blowing too, and you probably remember this, they announced they were for sale, and we didn't know that until after the deal was done. So that was
Right.
not good, right? I mean, at the same time, I'm, I'm I take every opportunity I can, and I thought about staying there, and then I get this phone call from Richard Stocking, and he wanted to meet. Richard was the former CEO of Swift, and he had been out of the business, the day to day business, for about 5 years doing some consulting. He goes, "Hey, I'm going to be the go to work for Brad Pinchuk. I'm going to be the CEO of Hirschbach." And I was congratulating him, and then right in the middle of that, he said, "Hey, I want you to come with me. Can we meet?" And so we met, and over the next few weeks, we spoke and about the opportunity, and then I met Brad down in Atlanta. And the next thing you know, I'm working out of trying to get out of my non compete at Shanker, and we were able to do that because it's refrigerated versus dry, and so it was an exciting time at Hirschbach back
Oh
then.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just had merged with JCT, or Hirschbach purchased JCT, and Brad had a lot of growth plans for this organization. I mean, obviously, it's slowed down quite a bit. The market still is sputtering a bit, but we know it's changed. We're starting to realize that it's settled in where it's going to be, and you have to grow in the market that you're in, and you have to diversify. And so that's been fun. It's been fun building structure. Hirschbach was a smaller company, and then when it merged with JCT, it became 3,000 trucks. It's not small. It's not a small refrigerated carrier. And
I mean, let's talk. I mean, that's a
yeah,
difficult process,
yeah,
Tim. I mean, you've been in it since '88, so uh, and so have I, and so I've seen and you've seen many an attempted merger that just didn't happen.
yes,
Right? It just didn't work. Yellow is infamous for not being able to do it.
yeah,
Right? They
right.
failed on almost every time they tried to do it. But what was the key there? What were the difficulties in making that happen? Why do you think it was successful
Well, yeah,
for you guys?
yeah. When I left Swift, I left Swift and went back to Swift in 2011. But in between 2006 and 2011, I ended up being the CEO of Arnold. Arnold was one of the companies that U.S. Express owned, and I give it a lot of credit to a fellow by the name of Ray Harlan and Max Fuller. I went to work for them. They wanted me to do M&A.
I knew Ray quite well.
Ray was an amazing man, and I did M&A for Max and Ray, and they wanted to buy these companies. So we ended up buying 5 companies when I was there, and we started a Mexico operation. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about the way Max approached it was, leave the brand and leave the company alone, let it run on its own. Actually, Smith Transport and Abilene both bought them. They had the opportunity to buy themselves back down the road, and they did. Both those companies did. And Total was still owned by US Express, and then Arnold, and then Express International, a little company called CNC Trucking in South Carolina, was rolled up. They were just really small, too small to operate independently. But one of the things I've learned is that brand is only as good as its people. You can have a brand, but if you don't have good people, you're not going to be successful. And you got to have a culture of people that are learning and growing and willing to change. And as you and I talked about at the beginning of this podcast, is that 7 years really has been wild. And if you don't like change, you don't belong in this industry. That's for sure, right? But JCT was, we had big plans there to run that separate, and Danny Krishner passed away. He was going to run it. He was a family member, of the Krishner family that started JCT. So we were forced into a change there. So we decided to go one Hirschbach on this particular situation because JCT had a big logistics presence, and Hirschbach was all asset, all refrigerated asset. So it was a perfect marriage. JCT was a West Coast company, primarily one transcontinental from Oklahoma and out into the Southeast, out in California. Hirschbach working really in the Midwest to the Southeast to the Northeast. So it was really perfect merger. Probably best one I've seen as far as that goes. But you still have challenges. I mean, people hold on to things, and for good reason. I mean, it's comfort level. It's but because of Danny, we were forced to change, and so that was bumpy, really bumpy, as you could expect, because of the emotion of losing Danny, and then merging it up into one Hirschbach. So the JCT is really Hirschbach Solutions. Actually, it's the shirt I have on. It's the logistics piece of our business that I'm responsible for and leading.
It's incredibly stylish. It's an incredibly stylish shirt, by the way, too.
Oh, thank you. I'll have to send you one. But we love our brand. We love our brand, and we're high on service. I mean, every single day, we go over every single service failure with our operators every morning, and it builds a culture of accountability. And I've heard many times, Dabo Swinney from Clemson, my coach here down here in South Carolina, but he always said the fun's in the winning. And I think
is he actually your coach? Do you play for Dabo?
No. I just say our coach, my coach. Yeah, because he's.
I was going to say this is going to change all of the rankings if this comes out that you're actually on the team.
Well, he's a great leader, so he says a lot of things that I kind of latch onto, and one of them is the fun is in the winning. And when you think about culture, so when you merge two companies together, and then you see all the public releasing earnings. I mean, everybody struggled. I mean, we've done pretty well in pieces of our business like Brokerage Solutions, Dedicated, we do really well. We have this great entertainment division, which we do concert tours for most of all the superstars in Nashville and beyond. And that's a really good business for us. And we have this expedited business that does really well.
Is that so real quick, or maybe not real quick, I don't know, but doing the services and transportation for the stars and stuff like that, are they leapfrogging each other constantly? Is it like double teams that are leapfrogging each other, or are they tearing down in one place and then really driving overnight and setting up for the next concert the next day?
Yeah, and tearing down and setting up, and it's you talk about a logistics challenge. We do that.
Yeah. So I mean, are you involved? Are you guys involved in that? Are you in?
We
Are you
we we
involved in that actual teardown and everything like that, or just the transportation? But are
mainly
you
the
doing all the
transportation, but
logistics of teardown and setup as
our
well?
drivers do assist. Yes, and in some
Oh
cases we
wow,
do that. In
wow,
some
that's
cases we
wild.
do the tear down. Yes, and the build.
Oh wow,
And we use the same drivers. They
wow,
go out
that's
on tour
crazy.
for. They go out on tour. They don't get to go home. I mean, these you hear drivers want to go home every day or every night or every other night or whatever. But these folks they stay out for sometimes 6 months at a time, depending on how long the tour is. And then you have these artists. They get attached to these drivers and they trust them, right? And they know, hey, I want this particular driver. And I don't want anybody else. And so you put 10 or 12 drivers on a tour like that, and it's they become part of the family.
Wow, wow. So, do you select the drivers on who their favorite artists are first?
No,
There are people that are like, nah, I ain't driving for George Strait. I don't like that
yeah, it's
guy.
kind of interesting. You got to be careful. We have a lady that works for us. She's on my team, and she's amazing. And she makes sure that we have the right drivers, the right mindset for these drivers. That we put them on these tours, that they're not starstruck, and they're not asking favors and snapping pictures and sending them to people. So you have to have these drivers that they're handpicked, and they'll do any tour. But
Professional.
a lot of them are loyal to the
Yeah.
certain artists that they've been working with.
Yeah, that is really cool. So, I mean, not so you guys got things going on there. You got some niche services that you guys are doing. What are you seeing in the market now? I mean, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of chatter, obviously, as you know, and it's been going on for a while. It happens before. Every time there's these huge swings in the market, somebody's chattering about something that's a problem. When the rates are depressed and capacity's high, we talking about Uh, rate floors, and when they go too high, we're talking about it's too expensive to move things, and inflation's going to happen, and they want rate ceilings. And right now, where do you see that we're at right now? Because there's some things that I have in mind that I understand or think are the big issues that are out there. The core issue, my opinion, is barrier to entry. It is so low to get, and not anybody that's going to compete and take Hirschbach out or anything like that, right? Like take all your market share. But there's enough of them out there. They have more trucks than you do in total, but they're individuals that drive down the rates and the security and safety and trust and all that kind of stuff. That's my contention. But what are you seeing in the market as far as, is it getting better? Do you think it's getting worse? What are you guys thinking? You got to be careful with boards and stuff like that. But what's your opinions on those that you can share?
Well, I'll be happy to share. I don't mind sharing what We read a lot of this, and I mean, it's if you go back pre-COVID, the rates are not much better than they were pre-COVID. And if you remember, before COVID, a lot of trucking companies were struggling then, right? And then what happened with COVID is COVID just, it took off, and we had lots of customers, everybody in panic mode, and we had a lot of different customers making a lot of different products because people started buying different. Services became a big part of what happened, but because of the lack of capacity based on demand, and it's just that old Econ 101 thing freshman year in college is you got supply and demand, right? And you have to understand leverage. In that time truckers had leverage, and also everybody else, right? So we were buying trucks at inflated prices, and um, the prices. The microchips and all that thing drove up the prices too, and then you didn't have trucks in the market there for a while. New trucks coming in, just like you had struggles with cars and automobiles and those kind of things. So this demand thing became outstripped the supply, and so prices shot up. And in a lot of customers' eyes, and I've been customer facing most of my career. I spent my first 7 years in operations, but since then I've been very customer facing and in more leadership. But I listen to customers. I have a group of customers I call periodically and just listen to them. And a lot of them felt like they were taken advantage of during COVID, and some of them were. but there are good carriers that didn't do that. The ones that are most consistent in how they operate. But for the most part, you got transportation prices going through the roof, and then you get the C suites of these customers and starting to get involved in transportation they never have before. I never. I tell
Yeah,
people
because they're seeing a line on the P&L explode that they don't want to explode, right? I mean, and
exactly,
that garners a lot of attention. Your
and so you get a lot
CFO
of
walks in
attention
the
from
CEO and
everyone in
goes,
the
"Look, we got
organization.
issue."
Exactly. So everyone in the
Yeah,
organization has eyes on the P&L now of our customers. And so
yeah,
folks that I call on have been, and they're sitting in their seats for 20 years. All of a sudden, the CFO is very interested in what they're doing every day and asking questions. Why aren't you using this? Or why are you doing that? Or why? What about this technology? What about that technology? And you saw a lot of TMS changes, and you saw the technology play come in, even a little bit before COVID. The digital freight broker. It's amazing to me. It is, and everything that you said is the challenge that we have today. So you have two types of customers. We always, the first thing we ask customer, how much you plan to spot? What's your strategy for the
mm,
spot? And that tells us a lot. Like, are we going to put our Hirschbach assets in here? Are we going to compete on price? If we have a customer that says we're 20-25% in the spot, then we know we're going to use Hirschbach Solutions, our brokerage. And we tell the customer, hey, if you're going to play in the spot, or would you like a mix of that? So we've had to adjust. We didn't think that way before COVID, right? So COVID had this technology, the digital
yeah,
broker come in, drive prices down. Visibility became a big thing. When you think about all the pricing platforms out there, not to name any, there's several of them out there we use. But you see all the instant pricing. I remember the day when some of my customers would call, "Hey Tim, what's a good rate from here to here?" And I would give them a rate, and they would. That's what they did,
yeah,
right? But today they don't call me. You know why?
yeah,
Because they're
yeah,
looking at the same data I am every morning when I open my computer, and so that's the challenge, right? And to your point, it's still a very very low barrier to entry, and you got a guy like my dad. We talked about him earlier. I mean, if he had 5 trucks today, doing really well for himself. He would. He'd stay busy. He'd download an app on his
yeah,
phone,
yeah.
and he'd hook up with whatever carrier he wanted to, or whatever customer. And the interesting thing about all this, Michael, is when I started selling back in 1995, um, you did a Fortune 500 customer didn't talk to a company that had 5 trucks. They didn't. They did not add them to their program. They didn't. They didn't add a
Yeah.
20 truck fleet. Now, you get up to 200 or 100, that's these Fortune 500 companies might entertain that, but they're looking at the JB Hunts and the Swifts and the Warners and, of the day. They're and the Schneiders. And so today, these same customers have access to this 5 truck fleet because if they're playing 20% spot and they got a spot board, and they on their spot board they have an API connection, or they have a digital partner that creates a spot board for them and an API connection, and
Mm,
you got your data
mm-hmm.
from your pricing platforms loaded in there. You've got your capacity over here, and you've got your customer, and your customer, especially if you have a power only program where your trailer's sitting there, and a power only carrier comes in, broker carrier, and picks up your trailer and moves it. But I'll say this: there's a lot of risk in that. There is a lot of risk, and you have to manage that risk, and customers realize that. Like, how much am I going to risk a carrier, or a small carrier with not enough insurance, possibly, or a driver that maybe isn't as qualified, or a truck that's really old that might break down. So there's risk, and we see that, and there's theft, and there's all kind of freight fraud going on out there that you have to be mindful of, and we're very, obviously very mindful of that. We've got good partners, technology partners that help us with that to mitigate that. But it's certainly a challenge because you can go cheap, and your spot business. You get these bids too. It's another thing. Years ago, you get a bid, and it's volume on the load only moves like 3 times a month. A lot of big carriers are like, I can't do that. That's just, I can't service that. It's not enough volume for me, right? It's to build a network around. Well, today it just it goes out on the spot board, and somebody will pick that up because it's today. It's what's happening today, and I need a load today to get from point A to point B or get me home. That's a good load now, right? And people bid on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So to answer your
Yeah.
question, it's what the customer
It's
wants. We always tell our team, go listen to the customer. If they want brokerage, give them brokerage. If they want asset, give them asset. If they want dedicated, give them dedicated. And that's where a lot of
yeah.
carriers, I think,
Yeah.
get in
Yeah.
trouble and
No
say,
doubt
make
about it.
that customer use our assets. Well, if their CFO says play 20% of spot, take advantage of that, and they're not gonna take that 20% back out of the spot. They're gonna put it in the spot regardless of what you say.
Yeah.
So you get
Well,
and
use your
that's what
brokerage to
they
use your assets.
exactly. Exactly. Customer says, I just want asset only. We say, okay. Okay, we'll bring you all Hirschbach trucks, right? So
Right.
price is going to be
Right.
different
Right.
because
Right.
we've got great insurance, we've got great equipment, we've got great technology, we've got great drivers. That's what you're buying. And security, right?
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, can you give us a prediction, one on the college football season, and two on the freight market, where you see it going from here? Because I have a feeling you're in the same camp as I am with the freight market, but I'll reserve that judgment until you answer.
We're going to start with football then. Okay. All right.
Sure.
Well, I'll tell you, my wife went to the University of South Carolina, and she's a Gamecock, and I grew up. My grandfather was the first, like the play-by-play radio announcer back in the '30s when the local radio went on the air here. He did play-by-play for Clemson and Furman University, but so I grew up a
Okay.
Clemson fan. But South Carolina
Yeah.
actually, I think, is going to be a surprise team. I see them up close, and I could see them making the playoff.
They're a playoff team. All right.
I
All
think they
right.
can
I
make the
like it.
playoff. But obviously, I think my Tigers are up there in the top four. I think, the most experienced team in college football, if you go look at it. And you got a quarterback that's up for the Heisman, Kate Klubnik. You got a great receiving core. You got a great defense. You got 3 All-Americans already. They've already 3 guys on one team. So Clemson's loaded this year. And you got a coach that's already been there and to 4 national championship games and won 2 of them, beating Alabama, which is not easy, right? But I always think Ohio State's
Yeah.
formidable. It's going to be interesting to watch them in Texas at the beginning of the year. But I would put Ohio State up there. I think Penn State, obviously, really, really, really good this year. But Georgia, don't count Georgia out. Kirby Smart's a really great coach.
You are, dude,
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah.
you're like breaking this down better than like Herb Street or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But my
Definitely
heart
better
is
than what-
orange.
definitely
I think
better
the
than what
Tigers are going to get it
you're
done.
saying.
I think this is Clemson's year.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of orange up there, man. I mean, you know, there's depending on which shade of orange, you got Clemson and Texas in the top 4, right?
Right.
So I mean, you're right there. I think the one that is at Penn State is interesting to me, but holy cow, dude, they have to go to Ohio State, and
Yes.
the wild card there is James Franklin. He seems to be able to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, if you know what I mean. I don't know what it is about him, but he has that ability to just not do it, and that's crazy. But yeah, it's fantastic now that we're starting off with a game like Ohio
Sooner
State.
or later,
I'm a big Buckeye fan, but still,
sooner or later it's going to happen for James Franklin. It reminds me of Bobby Cox in the Atlanta Braves. Remember, he kept going to the World Series and never could win. Finally got one.
Oh yeah, just couldn't do it. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's because my Cleveland Indians had to go there and blow it. It's always at my expense, Tim. It's always at my expense.
Yeah.
But so, do you have any predictions on the freight? What are your feelings on the freight market? I mean, you know, I agree with you, and you can't. I mean, there's no way not to agree with you. Obviously, things went back to 2019 because we had this, 4 years, 3.5 years of just anomalous activity, obviously. And we went back to where we were, but with a hell of a lot more capacity and, I would argue, talent, people as well. It hurt the job market in logistics as well because there's this explosion of growth and people advanced in 4 years what they would normally take them 10 years to advance, right? And
Exactly.
people were considered, oh, they're great sales rep or they're incredibly growth oriented people that during a time where you couldn't fall down and find a load to haul. You know what I mean.
Yeah.
It took no talent at all to find freight for a while. I mean, it was everywhere. But so, how do you think this all? I mean, we're still trying to shake it off, right?
It's the new norm. It's the new norm. You have to figure out how to diversify your business. You have to differentiate
Yeah,
yourself. You have to bring value to these customers and be transparent. You have to have a great customer experience, and these are things that you read about in the '80s when I was reading management books. It's we had this one blip, and until we have another one, and now hurricanes obviously will affect it, weather will affect it, but you'll have these cycles. Boy, do you remember the retail season back in the day? And Amazon changed all that, right? You remember
oh
we would
yeah, that's true.
everybody in trucking would wait on the third quarter to blow up, and we made our money in the third and fourth quarter, and we struggled in the first with weather and slow. And spring got busy because Gatorades and refreshments and Coca Cola and all
Yeah.
the
Well,
beverages.
you had mulch season and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff, right? Yeah,
exactly.
for sure. Yeah,
So you had all that, and you had cycles, and you could predict. Like, all right, we know, and we being public at Swift, we could predict, the cycles. But the Amazon effect, you people just buy when they need it, and it shows up at the door. It doesn't matter if it's January or December, so you don't have that pop at the end of the year. It does a little bit, but not like it used to.
yeah,
So the world's changed, is what I'm saying. The world changed. Amazon had a big effect. Technology had a big effect on this industry, and it brought visibility to things and that we people didn't have visibility to. And there's, we tell our team, Michael, there's about 7 decision makers in these organizations today. We go call a customer. It used to be 1 or 2 people. You get in the office and you hammer out some rates and you walk away with some business. And
yeah,
today it's
yeah,
about and you got scorecards everywhere. You got data and everybody's managed to that. And you have to understand that and you have to be good at it. But as far as rates go, leverage, we were talking about Ray Harlan. And
yeah,
I'm smiling right now because Ray would always say leverage, baby, and he'd laugh. Right.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah,
he
yeah,
taught me a lot about leverage. You better know when you have leverage and when you don't. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
think truckers hung on all of us there for a little while, thinking we had leverage when COVID was over, and then that leverage started to slip, and that's why you saw so many failures. So you have to choose to adjust. You have to take out cost. You have to manage your costs. You have to be efficient and effective in everything that you do. You have to have great people who are thinking different. And I can tell you, probably it's not going to look like it looked in 5 years. It's going to look totally different again. I think it's just moving that fast. Where trucking was slow to change for that many years, we talked about for 30 years. It's very fast to change now. You see things happening all the time that you're like, whoa, wow, I can't believe this is happening, and it's happening. It certainly is.
yeah,
I see a
yeah,
lot of the larger companies like Knight Swift diversifying into LTL, doing more of that. JB Hunt, they were on the man. Boy, did they change early with intermodal, and nobody thought that would work, and it worked, and it's still working today
yeah,
for
yeah.
them.
That's
So they're
true.
not really in the truckload only business. Is my point.
No.
Um,
Oh yeah, not even close. Yeah, there's a
right?
lot of people they've diversified quite well. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So
and,
the truck,
and to your point, more and more are.
yeah, more and
You,
more you
you
have
even
to.
see it in the tech space.
Yeah,
The tech space is diversifying as well,
exactly. Yes. So,
which is
but I
interesting.
think I think we
It's
just have to
awesome
adjust.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's a quick in the dead to coin a phrase. But yeah, you got to be nimble. Listen, Tim, I really appreciate you taking half hour plus out of your day to visit with me and everybody tuning into Noble Logistics. I appreciate all you people downloading and listening and getting some knowledge out of Tim Guin. And I appreciate it, Tim. Thank you so much for coming on, my brother. Peace
Yes,
and
sir,
love.
Michael. Hey, thank you for being a good friend. Appreciate you having me on. It was an honor to be here. Take care of yourself.
You know it.